Good morning. Welcome to our 2017 Newburyport Mayor's Breakfast for Scouting. My name is Steve Hines. I will be the MC for this morning's event. I had the honor of receiving this award last year, and I was invited back to be the MC. For those that you don't know me, I'm retired from the state police as a lieutenant after 33 years of service. I'm also the chairman of the Newburyport Waterfront Trust and on the board of the Derek Hines Soldiers Fund, to which the Institution for Savings and Newburyport Bank and have been huge supporters since our inception. So it's kind of, when they asked me, I didn't know who was receiving the awards, but once I found out, I says, oh, that's great. I says, they've been great supporters of our fund, and Richard Banks is also a big supporter of veterans events, so it's very special. This is special for the Boy Scouts of America today. We get to honor 3 well-deserving citizens for their contributions to our community, and the proceeds from your participation will benefit scouting right here in Newburyport. This morning, we're fortunate to have a few special guests. Would you please stand as I introduce you? Dennis Marciello from Katie Connor Ives' office, I believe is here somewhere. He was. Okay. Jim Kelcourse hasn't arrived yet, I don't believe, but and we have incoming Massachusetts. Oh, there's Dennis. There's Dennis. Oh, and Jim. There we go. Just okay. So, also today we have incoming Massachusetts Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development, Rosalind Acosta. Would you please stand? We have representatives from the Spirit of Adventure Council, Executive Board members Brian Sullivan and Alan Klein. And Michael Tager, also. Director of Field Service. We have John Pleaver, Director of Field Service, and Laura Moriarty, Field Director. I would now like to ask the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts who are representing Pack 21, Troop 21, and Troop 251 of Newburyport to present the colors.
I would like to lead everyone in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Scout Oath. I promise to do my best, to do my duty, to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Thank you. All right, so.
Great job, thank you. Please remain standing as Major Todd Hughes from Newburyport Salvation Army will present our invocation.
Sorry.
That's all right. Get out of the way. Tight.
Thank you. Please join me in a word of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to come and to recognize individuals in our community who make a difference by making our community a better place. And we thank you, Father, for this opportunity to honor and support the Scouts for all that they do to shape the lives of young men to be those people who make a difference in our community by making it a better place. Bless our meeting today, Lord. Bless the ceremony, all those who will be honored, and for the work that they do in this community. We thank you for the food that has been provided. We also ask that you bless it to our bodies and our bodies to your service. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
At this time, I would like to welcome Eagle Scout Colin Cody, who will speak to us about what it means to be an Eagle Scout.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Colin Cody, and I am an Eagle Scout from Troop 21. I officially achieved the rank of Eagle on May 18th, 2017, and I am glad to be standing here today to tell you about what it really means to be an Eagle Scout. But first, I want to point out the 12 different qualities which make up every Boy Scout. I am familiar with each of these qualities, which are stated in the Scout Law. A Boy Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. However, on my journey to Eagle, I realized that there was another significant quality which I have come across on multiple occasions. I noticed it while making numerous trips to Camp Dennison in Georgetown and Johnson Lumber to gather and transport supplies, and constantly driving back and forth to these places is actually how I attained over 20 of the required driving hours for my driver's license. I frequently noticed it on the construction days of my project, which was an 8 by 8 by 8 foot storage shed, and especially noticed it at the Eagle Scout Court of Honor held here on the 11th. This quality, I feel, is more important than any of the others previously mentioned. An Eagle Scout is thankful. Any upcoming Eagle Scout is, without a doubt, incapable of completing his scouting adventure entirely on his own. I understand this, and I am sure that every other Eagle would agree. That is why today, I would like to recognize those to whom I, as an Eagle Scout, owe my sincere gratitude. I would not have been here today if it weren't for all these people who had been there for me and supported me throughout my scouting experience. I am thankful for a man who has already given up so much of his time and continues to fulfill his position as our Scoutmaster, even when his son had already earned the rank of Eagle several years ago. He has attended every single one of our Sunday night troop meetings, every camping trip, whether it's one night at Camp Dennison for 1 week at Hidden Valley, and he has participated in every service activity that I can think of. He makes an effort to be there for every one of his scouts, including myself, and teaches us how to tie certain knots or teaches us about the different types of plants which are edible, and make sure everybody in the troop is included in the many activities that our troop does together and that we're all having fun. But most importantly, he pushes each and every one of us to become the best scouts that we could possibly be. Thank you, Mr. Wallace. I'm thankful for two people, a man and a woman, who have not only been very supportive of me during my scouting adventure, but have been my role model since the day of my birth. This woman is currently the advancement chair for our troop and works tirelessly to keep track of every scout status, logging in the merit badges they've earned, and all of the specific requirements which they have completed in order for them to advance to the next rank. This man has worked endlessly alongside me through the course of my Eagle project, spending hours and hours teaching me how to design, assemble, and build parts of the shed, as well as how to handle different tools and use certain techniques and methods for construction that I needed to know. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I'm thankful for another man who is perhaps the biggest role model of my entire life. He's not only taken care of me since the day I was born, but his services to the community when working with the Knights of Columbus, weekly attendance at the local IC parish, and his dedication to his family truly explain the commitment that this man has fulfilled in the first 90 years of his life, and I am proud to call him my grandfather. Thank you, Henry. I'm thankful for my friends, family members, and scouts and adults of our troop who have come down to Camp Dennison to help me with my project. Whether they contributed their skills in putting up sidings, holding onto ladders for others so they wouldn't fall, chopping wood with miscellaneous saws, or even cleaning up the pathway leading into Camp Dennison, I would like to show my gratitude for each and every single one of them. Thank you, everybody. I'm thankful for Trish Johnson and the employees of Johnson Lumber for their numerous donations and discounts of many of the supplies which we have purchased, for their suggestions as to how we can improve our designs and methods for constructing the shed, and most of all, their generous hospitality. Thank you, Trish, and those of you at Johnson Lumber. I'm thankful for Don Anderson for allowing my troop and I to come down and make many noises with our screw guns and table saws at his quiet campsite. Mr. Anderson is the manager of Camp Dennison, and he is very dedicated to his public campground. I want to thank him for letting us come down for so many weekends to discuss and plan with us and allow us to build the shed. I am thankful for Kim Spinney for helping me develop as a Tiger Cub and leading me to the Boy Scouts by being an awesome den leader. I'm also thankful for Gary Gorski, Jeff Heyer, and Allison Sherman for allowing me to be their den chief, which is an important step in my journey to Eagle. And last but not least, I'm thankful for all of you here today for sitting for the past couple of minutes and hear me talk about what it truly means to be an Eagle Scout. Thank you.
Great job, Colin. A fine young man. I'm sure will go on to be very successful in life from a great family. This time, I'd like to invite up Tim Felter, our committee chair, to say a few words. Here he is.
Keeping with the theme of thank yous, I'd like to thank the people that are present today from being prior honorees. If you're present as I read your name, please stand up. Sheriff Frank Cousins, Richie Eaton, Georgia Caloris, David Hall, Esther Sayers, Elizabeth Abby Stearns, Mike Costello, Geraldine Dorr, Lisa Valsich, Tom O'Brien, Glee Woodworth, and Steve Hines. I'd also like to thank the committee members. Would the committee members please rise? I'd like to thank Mayor Holliday. This is the fifth year that you have sponsored this breakfast, and so thank you very much for carrying on this tradition. And lastly, I'd like to thank the three honorees for doing the good things for the community that you do, because it's because of you and that we are able to acknowledge that you truly do share the Boy Scout values of doing good things for other people. So thank you to the three of you.
So today, we're here to honor three more distinguished citizens: Janice Morse, Michael Jones, and Richard Banks. Yes, two bankers and a Banks. I had to say it. I had to say it. Jan, Mike, and Richard were selected as our honorees because each has provided their vision and leadership talents to numerous organizations through lifetime commitments to community service. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mayor Donna Holliday, who will introduce and present awards to the honorees. Mayor.
When Tim approached me a little over 5 years ago and asked if I would be interested in organizing a breakfast to support Boy Scouts, I thought it was a wonderful idea and that we would be able to recognize distinguished citizens in our community. And so here we are 5 years later, and it just keeps growing. What I'm also really pleased about is the fact that Boy Scouts, which I think when I was raising my sons was really struggling to, survive, I think, in the greater area. And today it's a thriving organization. And we've heard from, I think this past year, Melissa, was it 7 Eagle Scouts just on June 11th who I was able to send citations to, so congratulations. That's really remarkable. So it certainly is. And I also wanted to thank Colin for your words also. Nice job. So as I thought about who I would like to recognize this year, I was drawn to, in conversation with Tim about these 2 leaders, Jan and Mike, and thought, these are people who just give and give and give. And how many requests do they probably get in a given week for donations, to address a broad range of needs across our community? And so I thought it was fitting this year that we would come together as a community and recognize these 2 amazing CEOs for what they have done for many, many years for our community. So I'm going to start today with Janice Colby Morris, or Jan, as we all know. Jan is from Newburyport, raised in Newburyport. She's a graduate of Newburyport High School in the class of 1969. But what is also nice about these events is you get a chance to learn things about people that you didn't know. I'm sure many of you didn't realize that she was a graduate from UMass with her degree in recreation therapy. And while she was doing that, she continued to work in the bank. And so this is, again, the story of someone who comes in as a teller and over the years continues to grow and grow as she learns and learns about her bank, ultimately, as we know, breaking the glass ceiling and becoming the first president CEO that is a woman for the Newburyport Bank. So that's very, very exciting, Jan. Also, since she assumed this position in 2011, she has grown the bank significantly in terms of $620 million to $720 million, opened up 2 branches in the Portsmouth area, and now has expanded their employee base to another 120 employees. So Jan clearly knows the banking business, no question about it, and has brought a lot of talent to her position. But it's her passion and commitment to the things she cares about in the community, which is why we're recognizing her today. She is very concerned about seniors and the scams that are, constantly being they're being exposed to. She has really worked with her team to be able to pay attention and those warning signs of when a senior comes in and wants to drain a bank account to, for one of the scams that are happening. I also know that she's very concerned about what's happening in the greater Essex County in southern New Hampshire in terms of the opioid epidemic and has put efforts in that direction. She also has a long-standing relationship, I think over 20 years, with Anna Jake's Hospital in terms of her commitment there. And I could go on and on over the long list of things that Jan has done for our community, but I'm going to let her come up now and say a few words herself. But she's received numerous awards. Let me just identify some of these. She's involved in the Frank Courier Charitable Association, obviously the Chamber, we all know about that, but she received the Commonwealth Institute Top 100 Women in Business Award, which I think is really significant, and Chamber of Commerce Awards, the Pinnacle Award, and I'm sure there's more to come. Jan Morris, congratulations. you're welcome.
Watch out for the wire.
Yeah, be careful of the wire.
Well, I just want to thank you very much for this award. I'm extremely honored. And I'd like probably first to maybe introduce my family that's here today. My husband, Chuck, my daughter, Elisa, her significant other, Mark Iannicello, and Kate Yeomans, my older daughter. So thanks for coming this morning. Can you hear me okay? All right. What's this one? I'm sorry. Okay. That's okay. That's fine. But I really want to say that this award, which I truly appreciate, really is not only a reflection of me, but it's really a reflection of my bank and all of the people that work so hard there. You know, we do so much in terms of trying to support the schools, nonprofits, other organizations that are there, but really, it's really part of our mission. And I have to say, it's really the right thing to do. I mean, we do this really with just accepting it as part of who we are. You know, you think about a lot of things the bank has done and the donations we've made. You always think of the dollars. You know, you think of the hospital, which I'm so proud to be part of. You know, we give significantly. You know, the second floor in the hospital has been named for the bank. If you think of the birth center, is named for the bank. But the things you don't hear are the smaller things. I mean, for many years, we had a large group of people who would go and decorate the Christmas trees every year. When you think about the Boys and Girls Club, Amanda's here, Amanda Gray. Amanda's not only treasurer of the organization, we give significantly, but Amanda is so committed to the auction that they have every year to be so successful, as many other staff help her out too. If you think of the Pettingill House, Sandy Licardo's here, who's the treasurer of the Pettingill House, director. Get it right, Sandy, I'm sorry, thank you. But again, you know, it's her time, it's commitment, it's the thousands of dollars we have given. But, you know, above that, it's all the backpacks we put together. I say we as a group together in the bank. I think we did 75 Easter baskets this year, and I bet you've probably put together a couple hundred backpacks at least over time. So, again, it isn't just me. It's just what all of us we do. And think of the time that Tim has put into the Custom House recently, you know, again, as an officer of the Custom House. But over this, you know, Memorial Day weekend, we volunteers, I think, staffed all 3 days, and most of the days were pretty miserable too, but for people to show up with their commitment. So I'm really pleased about that. And the other things you don't see that are out there, it's the Griffin House. The whole finance department and others in that area went and had a cookout with the Griffin home a couple of weeks ago. It was just, you know, it was a wonderful day for these people, you know, that don't normally see probably a lot of other people, and just to think someone really cared that much about them. It's, you know, painting the playgrounds we've done. Over Memorial Day weekend, with a group of employees, we put out over 500 flags on cemetery stones. So it's a lot of those things that people don't see. And again, for us, it's just the right thing to do. You know, when we even look at, you know, on the banking side, if you look at our products and services, I think we probably have the state-of-the-art online banking and mobile banking products for business and for individuals. And it's, you know, for us, it's more about you don't have to go to those big banks. We want you to stay in our community, and I think it's the right thing for us to offer these products, to make them available so others can use those. It's, you know, economic development is certainly a big part of what we do. If you think about the Salisbury Beach Partnership, again, we give thousands of dollars there, but look what that turns into. It turns into the Sea Festival of Trees that so many people enjoy. We get a chance to recognize a nonprofit each year. You know, this past year, it was the Derek Hines Soldiers Assistance Fund, which was phenomenal. Year before, we recognized a poor little boy in Amesbury that was dealing with cancer, and it just brought such joy to his life. So these are things that really mean so much to us, and it's just who we are. With all of that, I just would really like to thank my family for, you know, for all the time that they've allowed me to be out of the house, out of, you know, all that they've done. It's been a commitment, certainly on their part, to let me be so successful today. And I was just thinking, man, last week there was just so many different events to go to. I was beginning to think that Jim Calcoas was stalking me. You know, where the Amesbury Legislative Luncheon, Jim's there. You know, that night I'm at the Salisbury Appreciation Dinner, Awards Appreciation Dinner. Sure enough, Jim's there. I was supposed to be at the NEF Awards. I bet Jim was there. I had to be in Portsmouth that night. So, you know, again, I just really thank you. You know, it's part of our mission statement at the bank to improve the quality of life of all of those we serve, and I really feel as though we really live up to that. Again, not only with my leadership, but with the great support from my half of my directors and also from all of my employees. So thank you very much.
Now you can see. See, you know, the things that she does quietly. We all recognize those things. You don't take a lot of credit for those things, which is what happens, Jan. But thank you, and nice to have your whole family with you here today, too. Next, another amazing individual, again, who I think that's one of the traits of all three of the recipients today. They would prefer to be quiet behind the scenes and not get this kind of recognition. And it took a little bit of arm twisting to get them to accept these awards, all three today. Mike Jones. Interesting statistic that you see as you open up your program, that he is only the 16th president in a 197-year history of a bank. That's pretty amazing. But Mike has done an amazing job taking the helm of the Institution for Savings, our oldest and wealthiest bank in the area. He comes to the Institution for Savings with a 25-year banking history, initially as the president and CEO of the Ipswich Cooperative Bank, and then became the president of the Institution for Savings in, where am I? Lost my place in. 2010. Thank you. Anyway, since that time, he has increased the wealth of the bank from $1 billion to $3 billion, which is pretty significant, Mike. And I love the statement that when he opened up his first bank account there, he said, someday I'm going to be working in this bank, but little did he know that ultimately he would be president of this bank. As we learn more about Mike and his work, he also has led an amazing philanthropic arm of the Institution for Savings and has contributed so much to the greater Newburyport community, to so many projects. And it's been remarkable to see the impact that the bank has made on our community. In particular, he's very proud of the turf fields that he has installed in Newburyport, in Triton, and I think that as mayor of Newburyport, this was a very difficult project for us to kickstart again, which we had started in 2004, and under Mary Ann Clancy, and the bank just stepped up and really worked with us as we kicked this off again. And I'm sure many of you were there that day that we dedicated the Stayland Field and the Newburyport War Memorial Stadium. It's just magnificent. And it's so nice to have students graduate from Newburyport High School without a crumbling stadium behind them now. And everyone says that our fields are just the best. And it's because of the work of our bank presidents and Mike and his team that have moved so many projects forward, whether, again, it be the hospital supporting our schools, another $15,000 in scholarships to graduating seniors this year, and again, the list goes on and on and on of what the Institution for Savings has done, whether it's supporting causes for cancer, autism, I mean, amazing lists. And Mike also, besides running this amazing bank and all that's giving that it does, he also is pretty avid in sports. I found out he's run the Boston Marathon and is working up, practicing for another marathon this summer. He's an avid sports lover, and we share something in common. Growing up in Marblehead, I also lobstered. So he, from Maine, that was one of his favorite things to do as he was growing up. So a very incredible well-rounded, doing a lot for Essex County and the greater Newburyport area. Would you please give a round of applause for this recipient of this Citizen Award, Mike Jones.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Holliday, for selecting me as one of the recipients. I really appreciate it. I'm truly honored to be here today, and you can't even imagine how proud I am to receive this award. I certainly want to congratulate Jan and Rich as being recipients as well. I want to thank Steve Hines for coordinating this event today. We heard a great speech from Colin as it relates to the Scout law, and I think that if there were only maybe 3 or 4 of these things that each of us could do every day, it would have so much impact on not only our families but our communities. And I think of some things that I've read about whether it's the mission or whether it's the goals of the Scouts, where there are things like help others at all times, stay physically fit and mentally fit, have strong values and morals, and those are the things that really count in life. And Scouts typically are really successful. I mean, if you go online and you see who was a Boy Scout, I'm not going to tell you because I want you to do it. It's amazing. And they are really the true leaders of this country. And I'm just honored to be here, to even be recognized. We do our best at the bank in terms of supporting this community, but you guys certainly do just as much, and I think it's great. So thank you so much, and have a great day and a great week.
Thank you, Mike. And our final recipient, as one of the things that I have tried to do over the last 5 years, is people who are well known in our community, obviously Mike and Jan, but I always wanted to pick that unsung hero, that person who quietly behind the scenes does amazing work. And that's who Richard Banks is. And I'm so pleased, and again, had to do some arm twisting to get him to accept this award. Rich has a long history, 4 decades, with General Electric. And why he's being recognized today is because of his amazing work with veterans. He saw a real gap in this, huge international company in terms of its work and support of veterans, and particularly when employees who were deployed and, giving support to their families back at home. And so he created this amazing network and has been recognized through his work at GE for that. But it's the quiet work that he's done here behind the scenes. I can bet that just about every flagpole in this city is being attended to by Rich Banks. He will come in and tell me, oh, just replace those 2 flags. I mean, tear, dirt, just something's wrong with it, it's taken care of. Rich will take care of it. He also is attentive to some of our major monuments, George Washington, some of the others, and he makes sure that, and we'll call the Parks Department and pays attention to those. He's been active in so many organizations in our community, but I want to recognize something that he did that really touched my heart, and I think has made, and I'm sure Kevin Hunt, our Veteran Services Officer, would agree with me. On Veterans Day and Memorial Day, if you've been to a recent ceremony of the last couple years, you'll notice, even though we've had a little rain and have had to move it inside, you'll notice that we have bollards out on the Veterans Plaza in Brown Square. And during those two ceremonies, these beautiful hand-casted bells representing each of the branches of the armed services are attached to these bollards, and a representative from one of the armed services will ring the bell as I read the names of those who have passed during the last 6 months. Rich, on his own, went and had these beautiful bells casted in Maine, and I think they have added so much to our honor and recognition of veterans. But this is what he does, quietly, behind the scenes, always there and always remembering our veterans and their families. Would you please give a warm welcome to Richard Banks. See, he's already mad at me.
It's very uncomfortable being up here, just to let you know. For 25 plus years, I've stayed anonymous. I like it that way. This is not something I like, and because of that, I'm going to be anonymous. I'm going to make a really short speech here. When I first moved to Newburyport, I knew only 2 people here, and they asked me why I moved here, and I told them, and they said to me, get involved. I'm like, what do you mean? They said, well, if you like what you have here, to get it to stay the way it is, you need to get involved now, because if you find out something that bothers you, it's too late. It's already on a track. You can't stop it. Because of that, I've been involved with the city in so many different things and done it anonymously, and I did it that way because I found that I can pick and choose what I want to do, at what level, and when I want to do it that way. I don't have people knocking on my door. People knock on your door, after a while you stop doing things. The thing that I did notice in Newburyport and the surrounding communities are you can always find something there that you yourself find needs to be done or changed or made better. Do it. Seriously, get involved. That's all it takes. It's see something, want to get involved, find out how you do it, and do it. Make it happen. It's so easy in this community, and there's so many people who are welcoming you to be a part of that. You can't beat it. This community is just one group of volunteers. We were, as the mayor said, when we were doing the putting in those the bell post, we were having some difficulty. We had the DPW there. We had a couple of masons there that were helping us to cut things and everything. There were masons who had left their job that Saturday, driving by, seeing us doing things. They pulled over with the car and pulled out their equipment and helped us. And some of them, we didn't even get their names. So people in this community are volunteer people. They like to get involved. They like to help people do things. The thing that adds to it is the smiles you get after it's all done. It's not about as much the feeling you get from what you're doing, but the feeling you see other people get from what you're doing. And that's all I can say. I got to thank everybody for everything. I'm really uncomfortable up here. I really do like being in the background, and I would appreciate if everybody forgets everything about me. Thank you.
So true, Richard. I mean, it's easy to sit back and complain or get involved and initiate change. Very, very good, very well put. So this time, I'd like to bring up Representative Jim Kelcourse for the presentation of state citations. And, oh, I'm sorry, and Dennis Marciello also.
Jan, Mike, Rich, I want to thank all of you on behalf of myself and the House of Representatives and the entire House State House, for all that each one of you does for the community. It doesn't go unrecognized. We see you out there all the time. And yes, Jan, I saw you out there last week, and you were doing a terrific job on behalf of the bank, your family, and the community. The entire House extends its very best wishes and the hope for a great future fortune and all that you do, and want to thank you very much again to Rich, Janice, and Mike. We have a citation from the State House of Massachusetts here for you.
My name is Dennis Marcel from Senator Kathleen O'Connor Ives' office, and we congratulate you also. The Senator sends her congratulations and good luck.
Come on, Rich, you can do it. He's not in the background as much as he says he is.
Don't report that.
Thank you. So this morning you've heard a lot about commitment to community service. The Scouts have been committed to service to others for over 100 years. In fact, it is one of the 5 fundamental elements of youth development program, which also includes leadership development, advanced recognition, character building, and outdoor appreciation. This time we'll play a short video called You Belong, and I hope I can get it to run. Oh, great.
Social activism and political reform across the United States. The main objectives were to eliminate problems caused by industrialization, urbanization, immigration, and corruption in government. Through 2 world wars and significant social and technological change, Scouting helped young people to do their best. It instilled values of active citizenship. It provided opportunities to improve physical fitness and self-reliance through outdoor adventurous programs. All of this helped shape the character of generations. To be a Scout was to belong to a healthy and positive movement for young people. The program evolved over time. It adapted to the needs of a society that became more complex. The challenges of these changes were met by Scout councils, local communities that guided Scouting's programs. Over the years, they sometimes met these challenges magnificently, and sometimes barely, but always dutifully. The consistent goal has always been to reach as many young people as possible. 2 years ago, the Spirit of Adventure Council was established with the goal of making Scouting thrive. It recognized that the challenges of the 21st century require innovation and new approaches. It bravely looked at its strengths and weaknesses to redirect its resources and facilities in ways that meet the needs of youth and families. That journey is just beginning. We are still a movement. Our direction is forward with the goal of creating an optimal environment for young people to develop. These challenges are formidable. We live in a digital age where kids spend more time indoors than outdoors. It is a restrictive doubt and deceit. It is harder to be able to discern as to what is right and what is wrong. Today, more value is placed upon individual achievement and self-promotion, and the values of teamwork and service to others is less celebrated. Many young people are left lonely without a sense of purpose and belonging. The effects of that isolation are often devastating. Despite these negative trends, the Spirit of Adventure Council is adapting in a positive direction. We have become more inclusive and are actively engaged in efforts to reach more people. On many levels, we are making scouting more accessible by simplifying the processes and providing more and better program opportunities. We recognize the needs of today's families and are making great strides forward. There is much good work to be done, and forward-looking people who are willing to work together to create a better tomorrow will achieve our success. To say I am a scout or a scout leader means you belong to something that is positive and good. Our efforts will be completed when all young people, no matter who they are, have a place to belong in scouting, just like me.
Is it too late for me to sign up?
No.
At this time, I'd like to invite up Brian Sullivan, a volunteer member of the Executive Board, the Spirit of Adventure Council, to say a few words. Brian.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd like to extend our continued thanks to the Mayor, the honorees, and the young scouts in attendance for your dedicated service to the community. We are all experiencing a very special time of year. There's an excitement in the air. It's palatable. The weather is getting warmer, and the young minds right over there are starting to stare out of the window and starting to wander. School is almost out. The summer adventure is about to begin. Thousands of scouts are packing their bags, leaving their cell phones behind, and getting ready to experience the outdoors. Through camping, outdoor cooking, knot tying, hiking, and group-oriented games, scouts are just about to make a set of memories and friendships that will last a lifetime. Little did they know that we have an ulterior motive. The aim of scouting is to build men of character who are engaged citizens and who are strong both mentally and physically. By making scouting fun with outdoor activities, we mix leadership training, self-reliance, and respect for others into every program. We are entirely grateful for the support this morning that enables us to enable these scouts to have fun and grow and become better people. We thank you so much for coming this morning. We look forward to seeing you next year, and we can't thank you again enough for all your support, and especially the Scouts leading the next generation, and hopefully 10, 15 years from now, you'll be here and you'll be giving money to help us. Thank you all so much, and have a great morning.
So again, Newburyport and the Seacoast wouldn't be what it is today without the generosity of the Institution for Savings and the Newburyport 5. And again, Rich, thank you for the work you do with veterans. I do have one little story I would like to tell. I got permission from Jan to tell it. I grew up with the Colby family and graduated from high school, played football with her brother Scott, and knew her dad well, her uncle Dick, and dear friend Frank Currier. So it was 1973, we were seniors in high school. It was a Friday night and it was a dance. So I was going up to the Colby house to pick up Scott to go to the dance. So I go to the house and I get there and Mrs. Colby says, they're out in the barn delivering a calf. So, you know, this is 1973. You remember, you know, you had your good clothes, bad clothes. Well, I was going to a dance, so I was wearing my good clothes, you know, so I said, okay, so I go out in the barn, and Scott's holding the cow down, and Mr. Colby's, you know, pulling on the legs, and I'm standing there, and he looks up at me, and he goes, don't just stand there and watch, get down here and pull. And I really wanted to say, Mr. Colby, I got my good clothes on. But you don't say that to Lou Colby, you know, so I jumped down there and we pulled, and needless to say, I didn't go to the dance that night with my good clothes on. And oddly enough, it wasn't the last time I ever delivered a cow, so just great stuff. The Colby family's great people. Had a lot of fun with them over the years. Jan, Mike, and Richard, thank you for all you've done for the community and all that you continue to do. You truly are distinguished citizens. Thank you to all our guests today for your participation in our breakfast. Thank you for your support of Scouting and your support of the community service. This will now conclude our 2017 Newburyport Mayor's Breakfast for Scouting. Thank you.